Hello, people of the internet, Ninja Nick back with another round, the final round of day one of the Pokemon Trading Card Game World Championships. Whoever wins this match will advance to day two, what a lot consider the actual World Championships, whereas this is more of a, like, when you get your invitation to the World Championships, you really just get an invitation to a last chance qualifier for the World Championships is really what this day one tournament is. Although I think next year that is changing and it will turn into a real tournament, more like a regional, where it's like a more of a 2 to 3 day event where it's like a more of an all-in-one type thing. But once you hit 6 wins in this tournament, you do get dropped from the tournament, but this is the final round. So both players are trying to get their 6th win. If they were to tie, neither of them will make it into day 2. So Cyrus Davis on the left is actually playing a Palkia deck, a brand new type of Palkia. The Palkia Bibarel deck has been a little bit of a rogue option, but not a lot of people have been favoring it. It just it was always missing something, and recently somebody was like, well, what if we just put 2 Chien-Pao in it as a finisher, so you can just play it as Palkia Bibarel until your last turn of the game and then just blow them up with the Chien-Pao. I personally think that this deck is hot trash. I cannot make it work in any sense of the word. I do not know what its game plan is, because I get 2 energy into play a turn, my Palkia dies, and then I have no response. So like, my opponent plays Path of the Peak, and I never get to use my V-Star power. Like, there's just so much that, like, this deck can't do, in my opinion, but clearly it's working out for Cyrus, because she is currently 5-2 in day 1 at the World Championships. And, of course, Angus here on the right is playing just a very standard Gardevoir EX deck. Gets 4 Ralts into play turn 1. Cyrus is more than likely not going to be able to get any sort of attack off turn 1. Would have to do something along the lines of attach and Melanie to a Pokemon that has like a 2 attack cost, like Chien-Pao. Or, you know, you can't even Melanie to a Chien-Pao because it's not a V Pokemon. Yeah, I don't think Cyrus's deck even has a way to do a turn 1 attack besides just rule the region on the Palkia V. Looks like we are going to use the Irida that will search for a water Pokemon and an item card, allowing the turn 1 Battle VIP pass to come out. We're going to grab that Palkia V-Star so that we can use that on the next turn. Usually I think grabbing that Palkia V-Star is one of the more better options in the deck, because you now guarantee you have the evolution next turn, unless your opponent plays something like the Ino. But we're going to use our Battle VIP pass to get Chien-Pao Bidoof. And we can use this switch to be able to put the Greninja back onto the bench, the Chien-Pao in the active, and then use Shivery Chill. So one of the ways this deck operates is it thins the deck quite a lot by using Shivery Chill every single turn, getting those water energies into hand, and then you combo that together with the Palkia getting water energies from the discard pile. So it's kind of like a way of playing Chien-Pao without... I think some people have called this deck anti-Vaxxer as a pun along the lines of anti-vaxxer, and much like in the way, much like how being an anti-vaxxer is wrong and ill-informed, I think not playing Baxcalibur in a Chien-Pao deck is pretty wrong as well. Although technically this isn't a Chien-Pao deck. This is just a Palkia that uses the Chien-Pao as a way to search the energy and as a finishing attacker. But I just don't personally like the deck. Although Cyrus did win the Nationals, the North American International Championships by using Rapid Strike, which is a deck that I also played at that tournament. I was the 2nd best finishing Rapid Strike during that tournament, but unfortunately I was 163rd and then Cyrus was 1st, so she did quite a lot better than I did. I've also been following Cyrus's deck choices for most of this season, just because I do remember that there was a time, I don't remember if it was this season or last, but she played against one of my friends in a Lost Box Mirror, and she was playing Alolan Vulpix in it, and I think she's the first person to, like, actually ever use Alolan Vulpix in a deck. Just noticing how good it was in the mirror match, kind of in the same way that, like, Flying Pikachu is, like, kind of good against Lost Box as well. Like, you just kind of stop Pokemon with abilities from hitting you. So I guess you can still use the Sableye, but you can't use like anything else. Or at least at that time. Because the, he might have been playing Giratina in it. I can't quite remember. But I remember after I watched that match happen, like I was just standing behind them as I watched the entire Game 3 happen. And Morgan's like, yeah, that Vulpix is a good card. And I said, yeah. And the two of us walked together to the vendors and we each bought a 2/2 set of the Vulpix. And we had it already, like, in our stuff by the time Alex Szymanski won EUIC with the Alolan Vulpix. So, like, we've recognized the card was good just because of Cyrus, which was kind of funny to think about. So Cyrus does usually play a little bit of off-the-wall type strategies. So a Palkia being in her wheelhouse is not necessarily too... What's the word I'm looking for? It's not unexpected from her, I will say. So we do get the Rare Candy Gardevoir EX here. I mean, Gardevoir is just doing Gardevoir things, man. Like, Gardevoir always does these Gardevoir things. And are we going to go for the Memory Skip this turn? Oh, that seems awful. What's even the point of doing that? Wouldn't it be better to just attack with the Gardevoir EX in the active spot? Or are you one energy short of being able to do that? You could have attacked with the Zacian and just done, like, 150 as well. The Chien-Pao can't... Well, I guess the Chien-Pao can attack if they use the V-Star power of the... if they use the V-Star power of the Palkia V-Star, you can get the Chien-Pao set up. But that's not what you want to be doing here, necessarily, so... Yeah, it doesn't feel right, but maybe Angus just really did miss, like, an energy card to be able to really do anything out of that turn. So it looks like we are going to go for the Luminion to find Boss's orders. And yeah, Angus is getting super punished for that slow start that he had. So there's the boss. What's that bringing up? Oh, the Manaphy. Canceling Cologne. We're going to go for the Greninja play this turn. Switching into the Greninja. This is huge. Oh, man. The one thing that this deck does do well is put together the Canceling Cologne play very easily. So we will actually be able to see Greninja take a knockout onto 2 Kirlia this turn. You'll love to see it. Because not only is that removing things that could become Gardevoirs and taking 2 prizes, but it's also putting them in the Lost Zone because of the Lost City not being able to recycle them, and then now if he wants to get another Gardevoir out, he needs to Rare Candy, and and he no longer has the access to the Kirlia draw, so huge on so many levels, and this is the one reason why I do understand why Palkia is good, because it can go for a play just like this. It's not too difficult with the use of the Iridas and the Bibarel, which isn't even out yet, by the way. It's still a Bidoof. It can fairly easily just get to the double cross switcher Canceling Cologne play. So Angus is trying to consider thinning out the deck here. Going to get rid of a Battle VIP Pass and a Psychic Energy. We do have the Reversal Energy in here, so since we are behind on prizes, we could end up with a really large... Shining Arcana Gardevoir this turn, but I'm not quite sure what that gets you. I think, yeah, it looks like Angus is probably going to be going for the Cresselia this turn, to use that Cresselia to move damage off of his own Pokemon onto the Bidoof to take a prize and limit that draw potential from Cyrus here. Rare Candy into Shining Arcana and use it to draw 2 more cards. We do get an Ultra Ball, so we can still find that Cresselia this turn, so not punished for going for the Gardevoir first. We are going to be able to retreat the Manaphy, and then use the ability of the Gardevoir EX to spread a couple more damage counters around our own board to knock out that Bidoof. Did actually go for one additional psychic energy than he actually needed. He really only needed the one on the Cresselia because he would do heal 60 off of his own board and move it to the Bidoof. That would knock it out. But opting to also put an energy on the Zacian just so that it's a fully healed Zacian with extra energies on it. I do like that play because that makes it so you can potentially finish off a Chien-Pao with that Zacian and make it so maybe the Palkia cannot do a return knockout on the Zacian. So I think that's the line of play that Angus is really trying to fight for here. Angus has taken one prize card on the Bidoof, so that has not updated on their overlay quite yet. Hopefully they will fix that. Looks like maybe this is an Ultra Ball, discarding a couple of cards. Yeah, looks like we're going to go for the Palkia V-Star, getting a third one into the hand. Because we already have two in play. And what is my cat doing but running into my bathroom and doing backflips? Sonny, what are you doing? Yeah, she's got zoomies. She ran into my bathroom and backflipped into the shower. And then I call her name and then she goes and slides under the table that's next to me, under my seat, into the living room. Which means that my litter robot is going to tell me in a minute that she used it, right? And that I have to go fix it again. If you guys saw my last round, I explained that. So just going to go and take the knockout here with the Palkia. Not really the best, but you do go down to 3 prize cards remaining, so you're potentially 2 knockouts away from being able to win this game, keeping your bench as full as possible so your Palkia's damage output is as large as possible. But I don't know if Angus is going to be able to really knock out any more Pokemon after this. Or bench more Pokemon after this, is what I'm trying to say, instead of tripping up on my words. We are going to go for the Ino here, limiting Cyrus to 3 cards in hand. Of course, Cyrus's game plan will be to probably switch into the Chien-Pao, get some energies out of the deck to discard with the Radiant Greninja, switch back into a Palkia. Looks like we do draw into an Irida and a switch, and a cross-switcher. Oh, yeah, so we might actually see a cross-switcher play coming out while also searching the deck for 2 energies and discarding 1 to draw 2 with the Radiant Greninja. And it looks like Angus just decides that there is no game plan for him and he wants to just save time and go to the next game. I respect that. So, yep, Cyrus going up 1 game in this last round to the last chance to get into Day 2 of the World Championships, the actual World Championships, where this is basically just a last chance qualifier. So we're going to have to see if Angus is going to be able to pull this one back. Let me, of course, I keep double clicking on accident. Fast forward a little bit for you guys through the replays. Alright, so can we see what those prize cards are? So we get a rare candy and a reversal. And then it looks like some stuff that's not... Ooh, the canceling cologne for Cyrus. That's probably the most relevant card. At least in this matchup. I think Cyrus is also only on the 1 canceling cologne, so... very important to get access to that if your opponent does get that Manaphy in play, protecting those Curlias. You want to be able to knock out those double Curlias turn 2, or turn 2 or 3, just like you did the last time. Angus going first also gives him that little bit of advantage, being able to potentially get to the Gardevoirs before Cyrus can piece together the Greninja play. But we'll just have to see exactly if he is able to get those Pokemon into play or not. Looks like we are going to retreat into the Mew after using a couple of Fog Crystals to get some Pokemon out. Maybe we will find a Battle VIP Pass, and yes, we do, right off those first 3 cards. Not even going to bother looking at the rest of them. Trying to cut as much time out as possible to make sure he can still win these next 2 games, knowing how slow his deck manages to operate. He's going to even go for the Zacian a little bit earlier than I normally would go for it, just to say, hey, I'm going to attach, maybe I'm just going to start Roar the Sorting to get more energies into play. Also has the 4 Seal Stones, so that would make sense as to why to go for the Zacian right now. Yeah, you could also go for one more Battle VIP Pass just to get one more Pokemon. Or no, he didn't use the 4 Seal Stone. He used Roar the Sword to search his deck. That would make sense. He didn't flip his V-Star marker yet, so that makes perfect sense. He can use that 4 Seal Stone to maybe find a rare candy or something on a future turn, so that he can just get to those Gardevoirs as fast as possible. Cyrus checking the prize cards here, seeing what Pokemon are available to her or not. I think you might want to also count the water energies as well. I think you usually play about 10 of them in this deck. I have seen very different lists comprising of all different sorts of energy counts. It's like it's weird. It's like the 60 for this deck is pretty self-explanatory. It doesn't change too much from list to list, but the energy count for some reason does. I've seen 13 energies in this deck. I've seen 9 energies in this deck. But most of the time I see 10, but it's weird. It depends on if you're playing like 4 Lost Cities or if you're playing like 3 Pokestop. And then it'll vary wildly on whether or not you have like 13 energies or 9. But I do think the Lost Cities are a lot better, because if you go for that canceling Cologne Manaphy play, knock out 2 Kirlia, you just like completely neuter your opponent's entire setup in the Gardevoir match. So if you are really afraid of Gardevoir specifically, I would recommend either playing this deck or Lost Box as your outs to it, because they can both kind of do the same thing. Although Lost Box doesn't play Canceling Clone, you just Sableye to knock out the Manaphy, and then do the Greninja the next turn. So we are going to use our Irida to grab Palkia V-Star Battle VIP Pass, use Battle VIP Pass to grab Palkia V and Bidoof, a Pokemon that never evolved in the last game and just died to a Cresselia. So we'll see if Cyrus will be able to actually get her draw going with the Bidoof this game. Almost puts those Pokemon into hand on accident. They do go directly to the bench from the Battle VIP Pass. Not really a big mistake, because that is very easily fixable. And it looks like just a pass here. No turn 1 attack. Makes sense. Cyrus isn't really a big turn 1 attacking type of deck. And we see double Kirlia straight from the hand with a level ball to find a third Kirlia. Normally what you try to do is you'll get one Kirlia into play, and then use Refinement to try to find the next Kirlia, use its Refinement to try to find the next Kirlia, like hold out on your level balls as long as possible, so that then if you miss a Kirlia off of one of the Refinements, you can just level ball for it. But if you already have that many Kirlias in play, you might as well. So leaving this Ralts in the bench, just so that we have the potential to rare candy into it, into the Gardevoir EX this turn, and maybe take a big knockout on this Chien-Pao. We'll have to see if we are able to piece that together or not. I don't see a rare candy or a Gardevoir EX. I see just the regular Shining Arcana Gardevoir. We do find Ultra Ball, and if we hadn't had to use our Forest Seal Stone yet, we could have found the rare candy off of the Forest Seal, but we had to use the Iono here in order to do that. I think the Iono was definitely the correct play, though. Just, I mean, off of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards that you're drawing off the Iono and the 2 Kirlias, you'd think maybe you'd find a rare candy and either a Gardevoir or the Ultra Ball, especially with the Mew in the active spot. It's a little unfortunate he did not find both of those, but it looks like we do have one more Refinement. We did find the next Kirlia, so we just go for that instead. It does give Cyrus another turn to play with here, and hopefully we do not find the double cross switcher play. But we are going to go for Roar the Sword yet again, just loading up this Zacian as fast as possible. Hopefully Cyrus does not bring that up and knock it out by using the Chien-Pao here. So yeah, and now Cyrus does not have that Palkia V-Star potentially in hand because it was Iono'd to the bottom of the deck. But we do see Looks like at least one Cross Switcher in hand, as well as an Irida and an Ultra Ball. We should be able to get to the exact play that we want to do this turn, whether that be attacking with the Greninja or with the Manaphy and the active Canceling Cologne. Oh no, the Canceling Cologne is in the prize cards. So maybe we have identified that already. We're going to use the Greninja first. Makes sense if you draw into maybe another Cross Switcher or the Palkia V-Star. You don't have to search for that. But now Iono is going to come out. We're going to search that Palkia V-Star as well as one item card. Looks like we will go for the Cross Switcher. Our opponent has a full bench. If we have a full bench as well, we should... actually, we don't even need a full bench. We should just be able to one-shot that Zacian and go on a 2-prize lead. You see Cyrus is smiling. Angus probably said, well, I'm screwed. Or something like that is probably what I would be saying. I'm like, oh, I guess I lose now. We're going to go for the Palkia V-Star, attach for turn, Lost City, another Palkia, and then we can, we double cross-switchered up the Manaphy instead of the Zacian. Actually, that's a lot better, because now you can knock out the Manaphy and then go for the Greninja play next turn if those Kirlias don't evolve, but if they do, I guess it's still fine. Yeah, I think your best way to beat Gardevoir is to be able to take the Greninja knockout on the Kirlias as fast as possible. So if you can get at some point a 2-prize turn, this would force Angus to evolve all 3 Kirlias next turn and reduce his output of draw as well. So yeah, this is definitely the best play to go for here. The Zacian can come up with a return knockout potentially, but you can just knock it out in return as well. If it gets a bunch of damage counters on it too, we could actually see a 3-prize turn from the Greninja being able to knock out the Zacian as well as whatever Kirlia is left, or at least the Mew. So yeah, definitely Cyrus is looking to be at 2 prize cards remaining on her next turn. And Angus is really going to have to try to find just these first 2 prize cards now, setting up this Zacian. So we're doing 150 right now. We need quite a few more energies on this to be able to knock out the Palkia V-Star. And that will open it up potentially to the Greninja. So let's see, how much do we need? We need, if we attach return, that's 180, right? So we need another 4 energies after that. 4 energies is 80 damage, which would leave it at 1. Yeah, so it would live a Greninja. So it might still be fine. But, of course, Cyrus could always knock out just Kirlia and Mew, leaving the Zacian in play. So we're going to have to see all of these Gardevoirs evolve this turn. Otherwise, Angus is not in a safe spot. It would also be nice if he's playing penny to penny up the Mew, so that it's no longer in play as well, as it on top of evolving all of these Kirlias into Gardevoir. So we're going to Ultra Ball here. We're going to get rid of a Battle VIP Pass as well as a Rare Candy. Definitely don't need Rare Candy if you don't have any Ralts in play. Going to search our deck for, looks like the Radiant Greninja that will help us draw into maybe some more Gardevoir EXs and regular Shining Arcana Gardevoirs. We do only play 2 of each of those, and we need 3 Gardevoirs in play. Already have found 1 of them, so it is going to be a little bit hard to find our last 2 that we need this turn. We also maybe want to find our super... Well, no, I guess we can't Super Rod our Manaphy back into the deck because we've already filled our bench using that Greninja. So we are definitely very weak to the Greninja on this next turn if we do not find these 2 more Gardevoirs. We found 1 at least from the Gardevoir EX here in the hand. We found a Cresselia. Do we have another Gardevoir? Yes, I think we do. I think we have a Shining Arcana in hand, right? Is that one of the cards that's towards the end of his hand? I'm going to grab a Battle VIP Pass off the top 6 with a Mew just to thin that out of the deck. That's something you could discard with another Ultra Ball if you have that in hand. He just puts it down. in the discard pile, but that's not something that he could actually do. And no, wait, oh, I thought he was attacking here. He collapsed stadiums, knocks out the Mew, okay, but we still want to see the other Gardevoir come into play still, just to limit the just to make it so Greninja doesn't want to attack at all. I guess it's still fine having one Kirlia in hand, right? Or in play. Because if they do attack with Greninja, they just hit that. And then I guess they could hit the oh yeah, if they attack with Greninja, they could. And no, it goes for a second Gardevoir EX instead of the Shining Arcana. I actually like that better because it has a lot more HP. It can just hit for 190. It can trade 2 shots with these Palkias. So we're going to go ahead in the prize race. And then maybe just try to 2-shot each other and maybe get a good knockout with the maybe a reversal energy Gardevoir later in the game. Although you are ahead, so I don't know if the reversal energy will end up working. So this is a very intricate game here. So Cyrus will be able to use the V-Star power this turn to load up if she needs to, but we do get a Melanie. We are going to be able to draw 3 off of that. We do get a Cross Switcher. We did have our hand Ionode, so it's going to be a little bit odd to try to find all our pieces that we need here. Does replace the stadium with the Lost City, allows you to bench another 2 Pokemon because it does free up that 1 bench space locked by the collapsed stadium. We also have the Bibarel in play. We're able to Ultra Ball just to thin our hand of some cards we don't need, being the Battle VIP Pass and the Boss's Orders. We are going to be just knocking out that active this turn most likely. We still have our V-Star power as well that we can use at any point this turn or potentially next turn if we find another Palkia V-Star, and the Chien-Pao could just clean up the game here after this as well. But we are on odd prizes, which is going to be a little bit weird. And it looks like Cyrus thinks that there is no way that she can win. There's too much HP on Angus's bench. And the Zacian is just swinging too hard. Yeah, maybe she can V-Star power to take the knockout on the active. But then I think she realizes that the prize trade will not be in her favor. She's going to be basically short 1 prize card, even if she does everything completely correctly, and Angus is able to just take that game. So we are going to go to a game 3 here with plenty of time left on the clock, 21 minutes. As I always like to say, games in Pokemon take an average of 25 minutes to complete. So, and these players have been playing relatively fast, getting to a game 3 with a little less than half of their time remaining left on the clock. So even with +3 turns as that buffer window, we should see a completion to this game. It would be really awful to see this tie, because one of these players at the very least should make it into day 2. I would not be surprised if these players do go into a gentleman's agreement, as they call it, in order to say, like, maybe whoever's up on prizes at the end of turn 3 ends up taking the game. Would be pretty fair to go for. I did that at a League Cup recently. Managed to, I would have won the game on effectively turn, like, 4 of time. But there is no turn 4 of time. So we went by prize cards, and I Sky Seal Stoned his 3-prizer. So that would make it so at least one of you makes it into the day 2. Even if you have a really bad game against your opponent, or your opponent is being kind of rude, you should at least one of you should at least make it in. So at least offer that gentleman's agreement. And if you're the person being offered the agreement, definitely take it. I had a guy at a regional I offered the gentleman's agreement to, because whoever ended up winning that game got CP. It was like the pity 256 CP, like top 256 CP. And I offered the gentleman's agreement, and he refused it. He's like, I don't like playing games like that. I like actually winning games. And then he took the prize lead, and I completely bricked, and I just filled my bench so that he couldn't win the game, and we tied, and I took the tie because he was being such a jerk about it. Yeah, he's like, I'll take the gentleman's agreement now. I said, you already disagreed to it. I'm not gonna agree to it either at this point, because I wasn't going to win on the gentleman's agreement, and he didn't take it. So there was no benefit to me besides essentially screwing that guy out of points because he was being a jerk. So don't be that guy, because I would have given it to him if he just accepted the gentleman's agreement at the beginning and not been a jerk about it. So Cyrus goes first here, gets an extra Palkia and a Bidoof there into play. So not too bad of a start, even gets that energy attachment there. Can find the Chien-Pao at any point to be able to switch in, use that Shivery Chill to get going. It would be really nice to also see her get the Greninja into play as well. Angus is now going to get that Battle VIP Pass turn 1. Gardevoir with double Battle VIP... Gardevoir with double Battle VIP Pass is definitely where you want to be turn 1 at all times. With that Mew in the active spot, it definitely increases your odds of finding that. Angus is searching out his Pokemon first, and then using the Mew afterwards to increase the odds that he's going to hit an item card that will find him yet another Pokemon. Definitely the way you want to be playing that. Shows correct sequencing from Angus and showing why these players are at the World Championships. Unfortunately, getting a worker as the supporter for turn, just drawing 3 cards, that's not really what you want to be seeing here. And is that a fail on the Mew? No, there's definitely an item card in there. Otherwise, he would have already shuffled that back into the deck, right? Okay, grabbing the rare candy. That's not the worst card to get, but you only have 2 Ralts in play here. There is another Psychic Pokemon. Is that... Okay, we have a Level Ball. So we are going to get at least 3 Ralts. 3 Ralts is definitely the minimum that you want to have in play during any game. You can win games with just 2 Ralts, but it's a lot harder of a lot steeper of a hill to climb, basically. And then just a pass. I mean, makes sense. You're not going to be attacking turn 1 with Gardevoir. Unless you maybe started the Ralts and wanted to use the Teleportation Burst for 10 to put your Ralts on the bench. Although usually in that deck, it's actually better to just retreat your Ralts. That way you get that energy in the discard pile for something like a Zacian, or if it's maybe a different Ralts that ends up becoming a Gardevoir or something like that. Not always, though. The 10 damage can actually matter in certain situations. I have used Teleportation Burst twice on a Tyranitar before, and then cleaned it up with a Zacian, so... And yes, it mattered, because I did not have the energy. I did not have 1 additional energy. So we do get the Chien-Pao into the active spot. Oh, I thought we had double Palkia. I'm mistaken. So we started Chien-Pao. Shows how much I was paying attention to the left side of the board. So starting Chien-Pao, definitely great, because now you can Shivery Chill every turn when it's in the active spot. We have a Palkia V-Star, as well as... we played Irido, right? Yeah, yeah, it looks like we must have. So we have the Palkia V-Star. We grabbed the switching card to put that Palkia V-Star into the active spot, putting another Palkia V down on the bench. Still missing that Greninja, but at least we were able to Bibarel this turn to grab some extra cards. Putting the other Chien-Pao down just to make sure that on the next turn maybe we can draw even more with Bibarel. And just takes the knockout on the 1 prizer in the active spot. Oh, we roped, so it forced a Ralts up. Oh. Yeah, so it was not a switch, it was an escape rope. So yeah, that's really good, because now that is 1 less Ralts that's in play, so 1 less Gardevoir that could turn into. And that's definitely why you need at least 3 Ralts into play, so that you can have at least 2 on your second turn remaining, in case your opponent does go for a play like that. Because you could have always sacrificed the Manaphy here, which might actually have been the thing that I had done. and just hope that I get into a Super Rod to put it back down, because my opponent does not have the Greninja yet. They only have a couple of cards in hand. They're really relying just off the Bibarel, and that deck can have a really hard time putting together a hand when it starts so low, especially without the Greninja. So we are going to go for an Iono. This is actually pretty detrimental to yourself here, because now you are allowing your opponent to be able to draw a fresh hand of 5. The previous hand was not too good. And yeah, we get an Ultra Ball with a Battle VIP Pass that'll be easy to discard, as well as I think a Palkia V-Star we could evolve into. We should be able to Bibarel for a whole bunch, so this is a really great hand here. We also had the Lost City last turn, so that Ralts is in the Lost Zone as well, so pretty detrimental to Angus here. Did get the Rare Candy into the Gardevoir EX, so we might actually see an attack of some sort here this turn. Looks like we are getting the Cresselia down. I don't think that attacking with the Cresselia is going to be the best case scenario here, but I suppose if you attack with the Gardevoir EX here, your opponent could just use the Star Portal of the Palkia V-Star to get 3 energy from your discard pile onto like a Chien-Pao, and then you could just take a big knockout. So maybe going for the Cresselia here is the safer play, but you are going behind on the prize cards and doing fairly little damage. Oh, no, we're attacking with the second attack of the Cresselia. Lunar Blast for 110. Actually, I like that play. It's very infrequently that you see Lunar Blast being used, but I think that that's the exact attack that you should have used in that situation. Yeah, you just do a nice 110 there. So Palkia is at 170 remaining. You could easily clean that up with maybe the Shining Arcana in the next turn. Try to do your best to just stay ahead in the prize race. So let's see, we got Boss's Orders, Switch, Cross Switcher. We still don't have that Radiant Greninja available to us. Whether because it's in the prize cards, because I did miss looking at the prize cards, or if it's just in deck still, we have not been able to find it. We do have the Irida here now, though. So if it's in deck, we could search for it. We have a Water Energy in hand we could use. That would also feed the Star Portal. Alright, we do go for the second Cross Switcher, as well as what other Pokemon. Looks like we're going to go for a Luminion for next turn. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, the Greninja must be in the prize cards. So what do we cross switcher up? Probably the Kirlia? I think the Manaphy is fine to leave in play right now, because you're not going to be attacking with Greninja anytime soon. Yeah, I think you just go for the Kirlia. Are we going to retreat? Retreat and put the same Palkia back up? You could always just attack with the fresh Palkia. And then Star Portal. So yeah, so we're going to bring up the Kirlia. Makes sense. We're going to bring up Chien-Pao to use its Shivery Chill ability, so we can search our deck for 2 water energies. Looks like there must only be 1 in deck, or only wants to get 1 because of the potential of the Bibarel use on the next turn. Uses the switch to retreat, attaches to the other Palkia. Oh, already has 1 energy in hand, so yeah, that would make sense to only get 1 on purpose. And then puts this Kirlia line in the Lost Zone, so yeah, Angus is in a pretty rough spot with availability of Pokemon to be able to clean up this game, and I just don't think that Angus is going to get there, just because, like, Cyrus can just comfortably 2-shot whatever comes into play, and Angus is not really going to be able to set too much up. I guess, like, you could see the Zacian come up and take 2 prizes, but then Cyrus just responds by taking 2 prizes. There's no way that you're going to comfortably come into the prize lead here. I guess what you could do is attack with the Gardevoir EX to knock out the active, but the Star Portal still has not been used, so you can just put the Chien-Pao up and blow it up. Yeah, it's really scary. It's a really scary spot to be in, because you could attach for turn, Star Portal 3 energies into play, so that's 4 energies, and then you can also Melanie, that's 5. There's already one on the Palkia, that's 6. And that is enough to knock out the Gardevoir, exactly. And that's if there is no damage left on the Gardevoir. But it looks like Angus is forced into this play. Has to attach 1 here. 8, 6. Can you still... Do you still need the same amount of energies, right? So 6, 12, 24, 300. So now you only need 5 energy, because you had to use the ability on yourself. So now this makes it so much easier. So now you just attach for turn and use the Star Portal onto the Chien-Pao, and you take this big knockout on this and be able to go into the prize lead. And yeah, the Collapse Stadium did replace the Lost City, so Cyrus is not putting that Palkia in the Lost Zone, and that Lost City should be in the discard pile. So that is fixed here. Playing the Canceling Clone out of the hand just so that it's not there, so we can draw a little bit more with the Beebs here. And let's see, we get Palkia and Ino. Ino, not a bad card to be playing in this situation. You could limit your opponent. Well, your opponent's only at like 3 or 4 cards in hand, so I don't know if the Ino is what you want to be doing unless you're really digging for something specific. I think you just do it anyway, just so that you try to build up your own hand a little bit more. Sometimes you have to play a card that's going to give your opponent a better hand, just so that you also get a better hand. And yeah, here we go. We get an Ultra Ball, getting rid of Battle VIP Pass to grab the Greninja, which we will put into hand. Or nope, it looks like we're going to go back. He's going to let... Yeah, Cyrus is just going to grab that Greninja. Maybe it would have been better to just grab the Luminion, but... it's fine. I think Cyrus already made the decision forgetting about the Collapse Stadium, so that Greninja should be in hand either way. We are going to find 3 water energies from our discard pile and Star Portal them into play. This is the first Star Portal of the match, actually, I do believe. Or no, second, because we did it to the Greninja game 1. Yeah, we didn't use Star Portal last game. We scooped pretty early. And we just take the knockout with the Chien-Pao. We're going to Super Rod back in the Guardy and the Ralts, because that's really all we have access to, because everything else went to the Lost Zone. You see that pretty pitiful pile of Gardevoir line in that Lost Zone. What's that? 2 Ralts and a Kirlia is in there. It's pretty rough. And then we're going to play our own Ino, try to limit Cyrus to 2 cards in hand, but the Beeberl is in play, so Cyrus will be able to draw until she has 5 cards during her turn at some point, and it's entirely possible that we might still be able to get there. The scary thing here for Cyrus is that she had to expend all of her energy in play to be able to take that attack, take that knockout on the Gardevoir EX. So Cyrus actually has to find Melanie this next turn in order to be able to attack again, as well as a switching card. But we should be able to thin the deck of 2 cards, and if one of our Pokemon is knocked out, we can also bench that the Radiant Greninja did get put back into the deck, so never mind on that. So what do we do here? We Ultra Ball away the Palkia and the Water Energy to grab the Palkia V-Star. Makes the most sense. You can evolve your Palkia here to be able to draw a full 5 cards with the Beeberl. That marker, the ability used marker, was from the last turn, so we are going to be able to draw until we have 5 cards in hand this turn. We Melanie and attach for turn, Now we just need the switching card in order to be able to move our Palkia into the active spot. It would be a little bit better to get double cross switcher here so that maybe we can knock out the Ralts on the bench. Because that is the only Ralts in play, the only Gardevoir piece at all in play for Angus. The only way that he could possibly do anything on this next turn. But we are just going to knock out the Mew. We need to see exactly Rare Candy, Gardevoir EX with the benching of the Zacian V in order for Angus to be able to win this game. Otherwise, Cyrus just wins off the back of having gotten into that Melanie on this last turn. Cyrus is at one prize card remaining. So Angus is going to have to get, again, exactly a fully loaded Zacian in play this turn. In order to take two prize turns while Cyrus misses another Melanie and attach for turn. So it's quite a lot to ask for Angus, but it is certainly possible. We're going to search our deck here for the Kirlia. Are we just going to pass a turn and allow Cyrus to win the game off of the active Pokemon? At the very least, we should try to maybe boss up a Bibarel here to be able to buy that extra turn we need. But yeah, that gives Cyrus one more turn to be able to put this together. You need Cyrus to whiff like 3 turns in a row. And we do. We boss up the Bibarel. And yeah, that is certainly the play that you need to be going for at this point. You can also move damage counters to your opponent's bench. And does she have it? She has an Iono or an Irida in hand. As long as there is a switch, she has the game. And yeah, I do that thing all the time where I like go to fist bump and my opponent goes to handshake and we just like, it's that awkward situation. And Cyrus is able to get her 6th win to go into day 2 of the World Championships. Pretty great season for Cyrus, in all honesty. I had not really heard of Cyrus until like the middle of last season. And she's had quite a few good showings, including winning NAIC, the last tournament to be held before this. So props to her for getting into day 2. Very unfortunate that she just barely missed out on top 16, which would have guaranteed her an immediate day 2 invitation. And in this next season, they're not doing that anymore, but if you win or get second at an IC or win a regional, you get an auto invite to Worlds, which would have gotten Cyrus an auto invite as well. So like it's kind of crazy that Cyrus's season ended up being the way it is. But as always, guys, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you guys for the first round of day 2 next.